Now, Wendy Collier and I go back years. She is one of the most determined and fearless people I know. And I say fearless because she has the ability to look at something that she's afraid of and say, no, not anymore. She coaches these ambitious and purpose driven women and entrepreneurs to live free from the inside out through plugging into something that she calls their soul fuel and learning the skills then to be wildly successful at growing their business. Wendy is the founder and creator of Soul Fuel, and she's known for helping these women identify the skills and make the money to be able to continue giving them into the world. And you've got to listen to her podcast for even more of her great information that we barely scratched the surface of in today's interview. Her podcast is also called Soul Fuel. And if you wonder about her background, Wendy is so full of degrees and experience, 21 years of it working with award-winning marketing at Fortune 500 and Forbes top 100 companies. She's an ICF coaching certification and so much more. Find out about her at wendycollier.com. Now, she and I are going to spend this whole conversation identifying and exposing limited beliefs that we have about our work, our wealth, and our self-worth. It was like playing whack-a-mole. I get so excited about this kind of conversation. I think a few of these are going to hit home with you. They did with me. And then she's got some very cool practices that we can apply to start lifting these out and actually getting rid of them. All right, so let's start the chat. Hi, I'm Summer McStravick with FlowDreaming.com, and welcome to this series, Scarcity Thinking Sucks. So do limiting beliefs. So let's dissolve your limited thinking, dump those scarcity thoughts, own your power, and get you back on your feet, reaching for the stars. Over the course of these episodes, you'll hear from some really brilliant minds about ways they pinpoint and blow up limiting beliefs in their specific areas of expertise. So come with me on a journey into your mind and heart, and let's see what we can find in these very enlightening conversations. Hello, Wendy. I'm so happy to have you here and our wonderful big dialogue we're about to have.
Yeah, I'm excited to be with you, Summer. Thank you.
Yeah. So I told everybody a little about you already in the intro, but I really wanted you on this event in this podcast episode because I've seen you grow and change over the years. I've known you long enough, right? We have some history together. And I've seen you face, like, honest to God, demon after demon. And every time you just punch that demon in the face. So
That's how we do it.
yeah. And because we're talking about limitations, limited thinking, scarcity thinking, I mean, that's what you've done. You've climbed over every one of those walls, just over and over, as you've built your company. And of course, that's what you're doing with women now, and well, all kinds of people. You're helping them climb over those limitations. So, of anybody in the realm of career, in particular, feeling like I don't have enough, I can't do that, scarcity, limited thinking, I can't. Like you're the woman. So, I would love for you to start with, tell me about the people you work with, and what do they face, and how do you see it, and then how do you lead them through? And we'll chunk this out over time. You don't have to answer all at once. But let's start with that, okay?
Not in one sentence, not all of it, but I'll try. Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you, Summer. So you're asking what I run into basically with my clients in this area of scarcity thinking limitation. Yeah, so I do work primarily with women, and I have noticed a specific set of challenges with this for women that are distinct and different from men, although they definitely have a set of issues that they're challenged by when it comes to this. So because I work with women who are looking to start and grow their what I call soul fueled businesses, I have noticed a pattern of being specifically challenged with the belief that they cannot make money being themselves, doing what they love, using their natural talents, skills, and abilities, that they've bought into the conditioning that you have a job over here that you get paid to do. And then Outside of that, you do what you love. You do what you feel natural at and authentic in. And that's a very significant limitation that people have in the world now. For the women that come to me, they've already decided that maybe there is the possibility that that's not true. And that's why they're exploring this arena versus those who just don't even think it's possible. So they're just staying in the job. They're not even considering anything else. So when they come to me, there's that crack in the door. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Summer.
It's like a very basic fear of what I offer and what I'm best at and what I love is just not going to be good enough.
Yes.
And the world won't want it. I won't get paid for it. I won't be able to support myself in my life. So I'm going to go ahead and do something that I'm not as good at, that I don't really like, that I'm going to do that lesser thing because somehow I think the world will value that. That is weird. That's weird.
And they might be even great at that thing, you know, but hate it. And so, and this is just the society we live in. It has to do with social conditioning. It's cultural, right? With the respect to the belief that you won't get paid to do what you really love to do. And I do think that there needs to be, you know, some skills developed to monetize the things that we love to do. So we need to learn the business and marketing and sales and, you know, the basics and mechanics of a business. But that can be learned. It's learnable. And I truly believe that you have a specific... Yeah, go ahead.
So, and you principally work with female entrepreneurs then, people who want to grow their own gig. Okay.
Or they want to start it. They haven't started it yet and they want to start it. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And specifically, I help them identify what their soul fuel is. So the thing that they're really meant to do, what their soul is here to do, and then how to apply their professional and personal skills and abilities and experiences to that. And then learn the marketing, sales, and business skills that you need to monetize it.
Yeah, it's funny. The skills I often find with people are the thing that they throw as the initial roadblock. Well, I don't know how to build an email list. Well, I don't know how to.
Right.
And I wonder, like, that's not really your limitation. That's what you're telling yourself because you keep thinking if I just learn one more thing, then somehow I'll magically be able to do it once I've acquired the entire skill set. But I've seen so many people acquire all of those skills and they stop right on the launch pad.
Yes.
And that's kind of where you step in, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you teach the skills too, but.
Yes. Interesting, right? It's interesting because the I don't know how is simply fear. It's fear. It's natural to be afraid and be uncertain about whether you can make something you've never done before successful. It's just unfamiliar. That's all. So when we have self-doubt, it just means we need to learn something. We need to learn a new skill. It doesn't mean we're not capable of it.
Mm-hmm. And when you've learned those skills and you're sitting on the launch pad and you have no other excuses at this point to go forward. But sometimes we continue to say, well, yeah, I've learned it, but not enough.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the perpetual grad school student.
Yes.
Or yeah, I know I've got everything going, but I still can't leave the job yet. Like how that also I think is a limitation. People often wonder, like, when is the right time? I'm waiting for a sign. And I'm like, don't wait for a sign. Make yourself be good enough. Like, how do you address that?
So it's interesting because first of all, that's a very gender specific challenge. Like you do not hear men saying that men actually, they've done in the research studies, it shows that men actually think they're more qualified than they are. And so they'll go into, I think it is 60, if they feel they're 60% qualified for a job, they'll apply for it. Whereas a woman needs to feel 80 to 100% qualified to apply. So this translates into business when this comes up, like what you're saying in terms of, I just need another I'm not good enough yet. I'm not good enough yet. I need to get the next certification, the next thing. And yes, you can stay on that launch pad for years. So the way I work with that is to take it's a multi-pronged approach because I do, like you, work with the energetics and like the stories, the power of words that you're using in your own self-talk and with others in creating your reality, right? So there's that aspect. And then there's the practical, kind of logical mind that I like to appeal to and just go to what are three, I always go with the threes for some reason. What are three top things or three things you know with 90% certainty you can help someone with through your work in the world, through your business, through a service, through a product, through an offering? You're 90% sure. We're not expecting 100 because there's those days when you have self-doubt, but you're pretty sure you can do this for people. And if you can focus on just those three things, then who cares about, because we, the other things that you can't do, there's far more that we don't know how to do than what we know how to do. So why not just focus on the top things that you know how to do, get your confidence around that, and then pull the trigger on that. Or launch with that.
And then start building.
And start building and getting your confidence.
So moving away from that, I know you work with a lot of women who are already pretty successful. And there is a whole a wellspring of limitations that comes up, that come up when you've achieved some level of success. Ones I see are, I've achieved this level, I have to cling on to it now before it goes away. So everything I do is about clinging as opposed to growing. I mean, like what do you encounter?
Yeah.
We're zapping through these limitations, like boom, boom, boom.
Right. I know. Let's bust them right and left. So, you've heard that phrase, new level, new devil. Like no matter what level you get to, there's going to be self-doubt and limitation, or lack thinking is what you call it, Summer. I love that. Lack thinking. And it happens at every level. My coach makes multi-millions a year. He runs into this, at his level, but it's just different. It's slightly different, but it's the same thing. Same devil, different clothes. So when I'm working when I'm working with successful women who've achieved, they've reached a certain level of success and now they're worried it's going to go away. And I specifically had this with a client, Madeline, and she's like, I just feel like it's going to be taken away. Right. And she had gone from 0 to almost 200,000 a year. And was just like, and she wants to grow way beyond that. And she was just deeply concerned this is going to go away. And I encouraged her to step into the possibility that she is meant to have this. Like, this is what you've been asking for. This is what you're designed to do. This is your birthright, essentially. You can claim it. It is yours for the claiming. And to really step into the energy of that. And, I love flow dreaming. I talk about it all the time. And so I encourage my clients to apply flow dreaming and to go with the flow dreams that are encouraging the a visualization of more clients, money flow coming in, clients coming in, opportunities coming in, and getting your body used to the feeling of having it, of keeping it, of retaining it, right? You have to physically allow that emotion to come in and get comfortable with it, because it's uncomfortable, because it's unfamiliar, or it's just not familiar, right? So then the more you can practice that feeling and that emotion, then the more comfortable you get with it. And I also have them do things. I'm big on visual cues. So I'll have them write out the financial, the bigger numbers, like physically write that out on poster paper or whatever, slap it up on the wall so that they're walking by it every day and looking at it so they can get more comfortable with those bigger numbers. This stuff works. It's amazing. It really works. Or to speak it out loud over and over again and just get comfortable with those numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. Get comfortable seeing it. This reminds me, years ago, a long time ago, I used my old Photoshop 1.0 program it's a graphic program, to make a fake check to myself. Ooh. And I listed in it, $1 million made out to Summer McStravick. And it was from a great source. I taped that up. I had that right there. Yeah. And I remember after a few years, I looked at it and I'm like, why did I just say $1 million? Right. And I finally figured it out. I'm like, oh, I guess my expanded, right? So I revised it to $5 million. And after that, I just stopped doing that. But it's similar. Like, that's a visual cue. But it also showed me a limitation Eventually,
Right.
at the beginning, did not seem like a limitation. But then I was like,
Yes.
yeah, why only 1 million? That's
And
weird.
it's
Right.
worth noting how you
Hmm.
feel in your body
Yeah.
when you say a certain number or you write a certain number. I just gave this I give this practice all the time, but just yesterday with somebody who
Hmm.
was having trouble saying her higher level pricing. And she was
Yeah.
saying it like she wasn't speaking it out completely. So $20,500 a year or something, right?
Yeah.
It was
Hmm.
2,500, 20, how she wasn't speaking it out fully. So you notice, and that's a resistance to that number,
Yeah.
and that was for one client, it was just one little package she had for a client. And so you want to notice whatever level you're at, like, why is that hard for me to say? Like, why, these are just numbers. They're not good or bad or anything. They're just numbers.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's an appreciation that your client eventually is actually showing to you, is the way I looked at it. Because I remember doing that, myself at times, and a longer time ago now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would say, okay, this is what I'm going to ask for. And then the person would say, all right. And I'd
Right.
be like, what? What? Okay, all right then. And I realized that, I may have been putting that number out because I thought I was worth it, but then to have somebody else think I was worth it
Right.
was,
Huge. Yeah.
whoa. And, after having that happen a few times, I began to feel like, well, yeah,
Uh-huh.
they either see the worth of it or they walk away. And if they walk
Right.
away, we're not a match, period. And
Right.
that was a way that I started to get through that limitation. I
Oh,
think
I
all
love
of
it.
us have had that
That's so
limitation.
good. Yeah.
Hmm.
I love
Yeah.
it.
There's a lot of limitations around money in particular, and I haven't really talked to anybody yet in this series about money limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I know that for myself, I encounter them whenever I spend more. Like I up the
Mm-hmm.
level of some sort of
Yes.
expense. Like I'll pay, I'm going to pay $50,000 a year for this program, and
Yes.
I go, oh God, I'm at the next level. And then I go, the same doubts go through my head that went through when I was at the $5,000.
Yeah.
I'll make a $5,000 investment because I can afford to lose that.
Yes.
50,000, can I afford to lose
Right.
that? Right. And so I'm automatically coming from the scarcity thinking, even in
Right.
my very saying
Mm.
yes to something. And then I realize, yeah, I can afford to lose that. What does that
Yeah.
say? And then I'm like, oh, I
Mm.
freed myself. But do you,
Right.
you see that too, right? Just the
Yes.
higher you go, the harder the harder and easier, because the more practice you get, the easier it gets to do this kind of thing.
The easier it gets because of the practice. It is, and of course, there's so much we're blind to with respect to our ceilings. So we all have room to grow, but I do think the answer lies in the getting comfortable with the physical sensations of
Yeah.
these larger numbers, and
Yeah.
understanding that once we can shift on like a cellular level, that's when it comes in. And I know at the
Hmm.
different, growth stages I've had in my business, it was only when, because I remember my first $30,000 cash month. That was fascinating to me because I had done 10,000 a month consistently. Then I did 20,000 a month consistently.
Hmm.
Again, thanks to Flow Dreaming. Sorry, I'm just going to shout it out all the time. But, and then
Oh.
and then I was fine. I was fine with 10,000 a month. I was fine with 20,000 a month. For some reason, when I had my first $30,000 cash month, I felt scared to death. I felt fear. I felt fear. What was that about? What was that about? So I felt it in my body, and how I shifted it, because I was
Mhm.
already practiced with all kinds of different tools and techniques, was for me, what worked in that moment was, I can be trusted with this. And so I kept saying that to myself: Wendy, you can be
Mm.
trusted with great wealth. And because I identified something deep
That is one of my
inside.
favorites.
Hmm. I can be
Mhm.
trusted with great wealth.
I can be trusted means, to me, that the universe or life or something greater, something I'm part of, has entrusted me to be a steward for this, to
Yeah.
be the person who can take it in and lovingly put it back out again, right?
Yes.
Because all the money that comes into us, we don't miserly, keep it under our mattresses. We are trusted to take it in and
Hmm.
put it back out there.
Right.
And I've been chosen for this. I've been chosen. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
something about me has come to the level where I
Hmm.
match that. And
Yes.
so can I confirm that in myself through my feelings and say
Mhm.
yes?
Yes.
I guess is another way of putting what you just already said so
I love
beautifully.
that.
So,
I mean, just the fact that it's come in is
mhm.
proof
Yeah.
that you are worthy, deserving, ready. You are being trusted with it just by the fact it's coming in. So you're a match to it.
Okay. What about the other limitation then, which is I don't trust myself. I
Mhm.
don't trust myself that I will be able to handle this, that I will ever grow this. I don't know. It's not I can't do it, but
Yeah,
what if I make a bad decision? I mean, a lot of us have made a lot of bad decisions and,
sure.
been burned multiple times.
Yeah.
How do you address that one?
So, I mean, there's so many ways when I was thinking about all the different kind of tools that I use, and I have such a long list of tools.
Mhm.
One that I love in particular is to put a thought like that on cross examination as though it were in a courtroom in a
Huh.
trial. So I imagine my doubt, and in this case, you're saying my trust that I can be trusted with this. Is that what you're saying? Like maybe I'll squander the money, maybe I'll waste the money. Is that kind of where it's coming from? You
Mhm.
think,
Or
Summer?
maybe I shouldn't do this thing at all. Maybe I shouldn't raise these prices. Maybe I shouldn't
Okay,
write that book. I don't know that I can pull this off.
I don't
Or
know
what
that
if
I
I
think so.
do and then
Mhm.
afterwards I'm like totally regretting it. Worst choice I ever made. I
I
didn't
would
even
start.
finish the course. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I would start with why not. First of all, why not? Why can't you be trusted with
Mhm.
it? What's the worst thing that can happen is another great question to ask. What is the absolute worst
But
thing that can
Wendy, I've
happen?
failed at all these other parts and whenever I've tried this before, it didn't work.
Sure. Does that mean it has
Then
to
what do you
happen
say?
in the future? Do you want that to dictate your future?
Yeah.
Your past?
Yeah.
The
There
past
you
is
go.
done.
Yeah,
Okay?
exactly.
It's literally done. I mean, it's interesting because we often live in our thoughts in the past. It's hard not to sometimes to our thoughts just naturally go there, but it is literally over. So we
Mhm.
get to now
Mhm.
choose differently. And yes, we've all made mistakes. We've all definitely, I've made terrible financial choices before. I have done stupid things
Yeah.
with money.
Yeah.
And we get to
Mhm.
learn. We get to learn. But if you allow that to dictate your future choices, that's when you're in a trap that will never end. Because as long as you believe the past
Yeah.
can only repeat, then the past will only repeat. But you can choose to abandon the past
Yes.
and instead choose a different future, write a different future. So much
So you would
choice.
instead say something like, I believe that I will complete this course. I believe that I will get all of my needs met by learning from this teacher or by opening up my boutique on this corner of the street. I believe that this will work for me and that I will learn how to make it work if it comes to it. I know that that will happen,
I
right?
will
That would
learn how
be,
to is important because I mean,
mhm,
first of all, I don't believe in lying to yourself. Like you have to believe it on some level, right? In order to have that energetic
yeah,
physical shift in your body that actually produces the new frequency, right?
yeah,
So
hmm,
I think it needs to be something you can believe. So it's okay. If I don't know how to do something, I'm learning all the time. I can learn. I can hire the people I need to help me. I can take the steps and I'm making this commitment to myself. So, yes, I've abandoned myself in the past. Yes, maybe I did things that now cause me to doubt my abilities and trust in myself, but I'm done with that. I'm now ready to and this was a huge step for me when I left corporate because for the last 10 years
hmm,
in corporate life, I was entertaining starting a business and I was doing side gigs and I was playing around and all this stuff, but I wasn't following through. I was not now there I'm not going to beat myself up over that. There were different reasons, but I wasn't following through for 10 years. I felt the deep knowing that I needed to make a difference in the world and do this thing, but my actions were in complete conflict with that desire
yeah.
and my
You
intuition.
were the grad student, the perpetual grad student,
Yes, yes,
fully capable and ready, but like, oh, I can't leave my job yet.
yeah. But it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until
Mm-hmm.
I recognized that as self betrayal and an abandonment of myself. I was actually abandoning myself.
Mm.
And it
Just to
wasn't,
let
which,
that sink in for a minute. And
right?
that's important. Yeah.
It was an act of abandonment, which in my world is I'm going to use a strong word, but it helped me recognize it. I felt it was somewhat abusive. I was neglecting my heart. I was neglecting my deepest desires, wants, needs, my needs. I was suffering so much in that life. So to choose to suffer is somewhat self abusive. And then I was abandoning my heart, leaving it at the door when I walked in the office. It just really was
Yeah.
in a mess. And so it wasn't until I realized that had abandoned myself and I was betraying myself that I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't do that to my daughter. Why am I doing it to myself? And I don't have a
Right.
daughter,
It's
but
almost, I'm
if
getting
I
this,
had a daughter,
this feeling of, but it's like self-sacrifice. I will sacrifice myself for this terrible job that I hate. I wouldn't sacrifice my daughter to tell her to do the terrible job. I mean, but why, who am I sacrificing this person me for? For me? Why am I sacrificing myself for myself?
and it
You're
could even
right. It's
be a
a
great
real,
job, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It could even be a
Mm-hmm.
great job because my jobs were quote great. And those are harder to leave, frankly. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, why am I doing this for something that makes me feel empty at the end of the day and sad and depressed and lonely?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm. So in your work with people, how do you start this process of, I mean, I know you level people up. That's what you do.
Mhm.
Especially in the world of, their career and their soul and getting them into their calling. How do you start the process? Do you start by identifying the limitations? Do you start by, what is it that you do?
Well, the first thing I do is help them identify their soul fuel because once they enter into the soul fuel discovery process, which is a process, then we see the limitations come up through the process and then we can handle them. So I get them
Okay,
into
that makes sense.
action in the clarity action. Let's get you clearer about what you're meant to do or clear. And then as they're going through the
Mm-hmm.
process, but, and all the but comes up, all the buts come up,
Yeah.
which is all
Yeah.
the
The
limitations.
butts come up.
But. And I love,
I
it's like
like that.
whack-a-mole, right? That game whack-a-mole, at the carnival where you're like hitting
Uh-huh.
the thing down.
Uh-huh.
But I
Yeah.
love being the whack-a-mole person who's like, give me all your doubts, give me all your fears, give me all your limitations, and I'm going to whack those down. And by the time we get through that process, they're like, I got nothing. Like, I have no more.
I can no longer defend my limitations, is what I always
Yeah.
say. I'm like, hallelujah. Glad we got there. Stop doing that.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
I
Mm.
mean, and then once you do launch, like people that do actually get into action, really launch their baby,
Yeah.
there's going to be other doubts and fears that come up,
Yeah.
and
Every step.
every step of the way. So it's just addressing those. I really am a big fan of pattern interruption. So if I'm talking to a client and they're on this roll, I just intercept lovingly because that's the problem is most of us our minds are just in these repetitive patterns and we're
Oh.
talking to people and saying the same things over, but it's not helpful. So
Hmm.
doing some pattern interrupts with my clients has proven really helpful to kind of wake them up out of the trance of the negative thought pattern. And there's there's
Yeah.
a physiology to that, right? Our brain has neural pathways.
Hmm.
We need to switch those
Yeah.
pathways, create new ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the techniques that you use, like that's when you've been peppering the whole conversation with them, the pattern interrupts, the visual cues, the embodiment of the
Mhm.
emotion. You just kind of pull those out as they're needed. So you have a whole spectrum of, you've got a whole carpenter's tool
I do.
shop there behind you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once you're seeing it,
It's a
that's
lot.
the thing. And then you're going to reach over for this one, get the hammer, get the saw, get the this, get the that. And then
I
just
love
go
that
in,
visual.
right?
Yeah. 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 I mean, because
Well,
one
it's
thing might,
true.
and it might can one technique can work for someone or connect with someone and another may not connect as well. So there's different
Yes, so
people
true.
need different approaches to choose from. And like I mentioned earlier, we didn't go
Yeah.
much into it,
Mhm.
but the courtroom one, I love using like
Oh,
cross-examining,
yeah.
putting my fears and doubts on the witness
Uh-huh.
stand, having my clients do that. Let's just question it. Let's like And I think it's important. This
Mhm.
is really important, Summer. I think it's very important to recognize that our limitations, our limited beliefs, and all of that is not us. It is not us. It is conditioning.
Yeah.
That's it. I think that's important to
Mhm.
prevent judgment of yourself, shaming of yourself, blaming of yourself, beating yourself up. It is not us. We are the
Being
observer
kicked
of
out of the tribe.
right.
Mhm.
We are the observer of
Yes.
our thoughts, like Eckhart
Mm.
Tolle says. We are the observer of our thoughts. So we can, if we can create that distance and treat it like, I like to think of it, another trick is like think of it as a bully in the playground trying to keep you down. So you can name your bully
Mhm.
and, get your fight on and fight that thing off because it's not you, it's conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Totally agree with you.
Yeah.
This is zipped by so
I
quickly.
know.
I know that there are some people listening right now, and they're like, oh my God, I've been sitting in this job for 10 years, and
Mm.
Wendy, you just nailed me. Um, how do I learn more about you? What do you have for me? Is there a little tiny bite of the cookie I can try before I leap? What do you have?
I love that. Bite of a cookie. Sure. I'll give you a whole cookie if you'd like. So,
Aha! Okay, your podcast number one, Soul Fuel Podcast. You guys all
yes.
go listen to her. She is genius.
Oh,
And then keep going.
thank you, Summer. Summer is responsible for getting me started on my podcast. She's invited me on to Inflow Radio, and it's just been nonstop ever since. So I love it. I love it. Love it.
Great.
So yeah, there's a Soul Fuel podcast, so lots of good goodies in there. And then also
Hmm.
a free gift that I have, which is the Soul Fuel Starter Bundle, which can be
Okay.
found at soulfuelstarter.com. And that
Hmm.
includes an audio program. It's 5 steps to clarity and confidence to grow or scale your soul fueled business. And then it has 2 PDF downloads to help you begin to what I call like soul tap into your soul fuel sparks, the sparks of your soul fuel. And then we get to fan the flame and make it an inferno of goodness. And then the other PDF is
An inferno of goodness.
an inferno of
I'm going
goodness.
to title your talk An Inferno of Goodness with Wendy. With Wendy Collier. I
Yes.
like that.
Yes. And then
Okay.
the other PDF is
Fantastic.
to help people discover which of their passions they need to monetize. So, yeah. So those
Great.
are a couple different
Well,
ways.
there should be a link. If you want to go to the website, absolutely go there. There's also going to be a link below this interview, whether you're listening as a podcast or watching it or however, it'll be there for you. So you can definitely follow up with Wendy Collier.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, my
Summer.
dear. It was
Thank
so
you so
wonderful
much.
talking with you and finally
So
getting to
fun.
pick your brain a little bit about exactly what you do
Mm,
and so forth. So it's great.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
You're welcome. All right, goodbye, everybody, and we'll see you for the next episode.